We have hit that time of the year once again where last to first, first to last, everything's turning on a dime. Women's Open Championship taking place. And I am Alan Depew, and you have found Quiet Please, the golf podcast. As always, we want to give a shout out to those of you, our listeners. We appreciate everyone listening to us on whatever podcast channel you are, or even on watching us now on video on our YouTube channel. Wherever that is, we'd like to ask that we can continue. Please give us a shout out. Please rate us, give us a 5, help us keep this thing going. And we always like to hear from everyone. Every week, we one of us gets messages from someone. Love to chat with our fellow golfers, listeners that are out there. And as always, I've got our panel, and I'm going to start to my left. He hails from Boston, living now in Bourbon Country. Boston, Bob Baldessari. Hello, Bobby.
I get the Red Sox hat because we got Mark on the show.
Oh, that's wicked good. To my lower left, Little Linksters extraordinaire, junior golf instructor, author, correspondent, everything golf, and a huge signature line on his email, Brendan Elliott.
Good evening.
Good evening. And Bobby kind of tipped my hand a little bit, straight from the 18th green at Castle Pines, which, by the way, I was really jacked to see Castle Pines back in the rotation.
Yep.
We've had him on the show before. PGA Life Member Mark Bradley. Are you a happy man right now, sir?
Hey guys, hi Alan. Yeah, I'd never seen him win live. I've watched every shot he's hit for the last 14 years on PGAtour.com. But every Kay saw his mother saw him win, and his sister, and a couple of my grandkids, and everybody, but not me. And I was okay with that. I mean, it's hard to win out there on the PGA Tour, and I can't go every week, and I don't go every week, and I enjoy watching it online as well with Tourcast 3D and the fact that he's been a featured player a lot in the last year. I've been able to follow him right here from my home in Jackson Hole.
And just for maybe the naive golf fan that's out there, he is Captain America, the new Captain America.
Yes.
Keegan Bradley.
Yeah, it's Keegan. And that was an amazing thing that happened. He just got through playing Memorial, signature event. Then he goes to the U.S. Open, U.S. Open. And then he goes to the Travelers to defend in another signature event. And he gets home that night, and the phone rings, and it's Seth Waugh, and it's Zach Johnson, and I forget who the third guy was, but he's sitting there exhausted. And they said to him, and it was Zach, said, "We want you to be our next captain for the 2025 Ryder Cup." And he was stunned, shocked. He had no idea this was coming down the pike. Everybody thinks it's going to be Tiger. And, to Tiger's credit, he wants to be a captain someday, but he just didn't feel like he could give it the attention that it needs. And to be honest with you, I even think Keegan felt that way at first. He was so shocked because, hey, he's now 11th in the world over here, and he still wants to be a player first. And so I just think with all the stuff that's coming down, and Jim Furyk asked him to be a vice captain on the President's Cup team, and I got a hold of him and I said, how does that make you feel? And he said the words, he said, relief. And I said, yeah. And he goes, yeah, I need some experience out there, with the captain's hat on. And so then he goes out and he wins this event in Colorado. And I agree with you that Castle Pines is really, yeah. I mean, it's incredible. And, you can't slap it around out there. And it shows by the scores. No one went, in fuego out there. And, Keegan shoots even par the last day, and he held on for a one-stroke win. It was just super great. I went down with a buddy of mine that I play golf with, and we drove down on Tuesday. It's about 8-9 hours to Denver from, Jackson Hole, and we get down there and went to the Pro-Am on Wednesday. I didn't think playoffs had Pro-Ams, but they do. And so we went because I know that when I go to Pro-Ams, I can walk inside the ropes. And it's really cool to, walk down the fairway and I get to see Keegan. But I also know that he's at work and he's talking with Scotty, and they're trying to figure out that elevation and 6,300 feet and wind and up and down and all around. So, but it's just fun to sit there within a few yards of a guy who hits it like Keegan. And I'm his dad, but I see him hit it and I go, oh, holy mackerel. It's a thing of beauty. It just does this pro trajectory and it rises and it turns over about 5 to 10 feet every time. And he hit a lot of fairways, which you had to do. The rough was crazy, just so thick, and they had some rain, so it really got long and thick. But he hit fairways and he hit greens. He didn't putt great. He said that to me on Sunday night when we had dinner. I didn't really putt that well, but putted well enough. And he gets this win. And he was very, very happy, really happy. And, we're coming down 18 and people sort of broke through the barriers and, security and the volunteers were telling people to get back on the other side of the ropes. And I just went up to this volunteer, this gal, and I said, listen, that's my son right over there. And he's trying to win this golf tournament.
Say, that guy that's on top of the leaderboard?
Yeah. I said, I really want to, walk down. And she was so nice. And of course, go ahead. And she let my buddy go through too. And, when he birdied 17, I started thinking, but never did I say this is over. But I thought, I'm going to do like every other family member does on these golf tournaments when I always felt that way. A guy would win a tournament. Geez, his family's right there. And, I wanted that. I wanted to have that opportunity someday. And I did. I had it the other day. And we embraced out on the 18th hole and just exchanged a couple of words and about how proud I am of him. And you did it. And, it was a special moment. And I think that the Golf Channel and the announcers and everything knew that it was the first time I saw Keegan win live. And they thought it was pretty cool and played it up. And it was a proud moment.
Yeah, great storyline, obviously. And I mean, we'll dive into a little bit. Bobby, you had something.
I mean, I've got so much to ask,
So
talk to Mark. I mean, you've come on the show many times and we go way back, but Keegan's had a historic year and he keeps making history. He's the first Ryder Cup captain to win after being named the captain after a couple of pretty decent guys named Jack Nicklaus and Davis Love.
That's right.
I mean, second youngest American captain since Arnie. I mean, he just keeps making these amazing historic accomplishments. I mean, he's out there doing some big, big stuff that, hopefully he just can keep it going. And when you think about American golfers that want to be, I know there's some players that are on the team, but to me, you can differentiate some that are on the team. They're going to be at a Ryder Cup or President's Cup and they're going to play. And then there's some that really, really want to be there, really want to be in the mix, really want to be in the, give me the ball in the last shot, the Larry Birds and the Bobby Orrs and all that. And, to have Keegan potentially be a playing captain, I mean, that would be amazing, wouldn't it be?
It would be amazing. And now there's a chance that's going to happen.
Yeah, there's a reality.
Because he said at the press conference in New York when the announcement was made, he won't pick himself. And
right.
If he's 6 through 12, he's not going to pick himself unless some amazing circumstances come about. But he's not going to do that. And, it's like Rory said, you either got to play or you got to be a captain. And he doesn't think he can do both because they asked Rory to be the European captain for 2027 in Adair Manor. And gee whiz, I hope to be able to go to because I played there, and it's an amazing place. But getting back to present time, he can still make it as a top 6 guy. And then, we have the situation coming up next month with the President's Cup.
Yep.
Right.
And, is Jim going to pick him?
Yeah.
And Keegan was thinking he was going to go and he was going to be able to just sort of kick back, enjoy himself, and, be a vice captain and, help out in any way he can. And now he's going to have to shift gears because, we'll see if he gets picked. It's not definite yet. And he just told Jim Furyk and everybody else that whatever you need me to do, I'll do it. And if they said to him, we don't want you to play, we want you to be the captain, he'll do it. But I think, there's a good chance he's going to tee it up in Montreal here in a few weeks. But he'll, I'm sure he's going to say to Jim, let me in on some of the insides of captainship because, he needs to learn a little bit as he heads he's got a year. But he's always been very grown up for his age. He's a strong guy. He's a strong kid, and he's got, I don't know if you guys noticed it. I certainly do when he's interviewed like he was the other day by, because of his victory. And even before he won, he really does have this boyish enthusiasm that as a father, I love it because he still has this love of golf and love of competition and excitement for doing well. And it shows, but yet he's mature in so many other ways. And I think that comes across when he's interviewed. He's confident, but he's humble, and he just, I don't know. I don't think he's going to wear that Boston Red Sox hat when he gets introduced in Bethpage Black here. I don't know if he wants to wear that thing out there, but, and that's another very interesting thing that's going on. Here's a kid, he's from Vermont, but he's Boston, he's New England, and, Red Sox and Patriots and Bruins and Celtics. I mean, up and down. And, he's going into New York.
Yeah.
And, but he has those 4 years at St. John's University.
Right.
And,
I'm gonna interject right there, Mark. I'm going to interject for a second. So I'm a Vermonter, native Vermonter.
Are you? Yeah. I remember that now.
I am. And every year at the course, we have Mariano Rivera, and I bust out my Boston Red Sox hat. So, Mo and I got this little thing, and I think a W will overcome the hated rivalry. BE, what did you have?
Well, Keegan, to me, it's been an interesting journey from the hot start as a rookie, probably having one of the best rookie years in the last few decades. But it's been a roller coaster. And I'm curious of the emotional toll that it's taken on him. And I know you probably know all too well the ups and downs and what happens behind the scenes. But I think last year we saw some new life. And then now with this captaincy, do you think that this played a part in what he's done in the playoffs last week and then potentially what happens this week?
I do.
Agreed.
I do. I mean, he was really bummed out when he thought he was going to finish 51st. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, through the math and through this guy doing this and doing that, Maverick McNeely, Keegan was 50th, Maverick was 51st, and Maverick goes eagle, birdie, par, 60-foot two-putt on 18. And I'm following every stroke, every shot, like I always have. And Keegan gets bumped to 51st, and I'm playing golf with my buddy. I followed Keegan while he was on the golf course, but I said, there's nothing I can do. And so I went out to play, and I'm playing with my buddy who attended the BMW with me last week, and he was blown away by, how well it went. But I'm going up, looks like it's over. It was a weird deal because I sort of had the feeling of what it's like for him not to make it and sort of not fail, but didn't get in to, I just, a couple of holes later, I said, what the heck? And I looked at my phone And all of a sudden he's 50th. And I said to Bernie, I said, Bernie, he's now 50th, you know, whatever. And it held. And I couldn't believe it. I think Maverick even ended up like 53rd when all is said and done. But poor Tom Kim, you know, goes 666. And, you know, Keegan and Tom have the same agent, Ben Harrison. So that was a little bittersweet day for Ben. But it got Keegan in. And it got him into the situation where we are now, where he wins. He wins it. And so I don't know where I was going with all this, but it was.
Well, the same thing basically happened to JT to get to Atlanta, right?
This was
JT's in.
He's sitting at 31, and suddenly he tweeted, "Hey, I don't remember how he said it, but he got the last spot."
He got the last spot, and you know, Keegan, you know, likes JT a lot. He also knows he didn't feel like it was JT that kept him out of the last Ryder Cup. It wasn't JT, and he even said in some of the articles and the press things and all that he goes, "Hey, if I was captain, I'd have picked JT too, because he's really, really good." And so we'll see what he does here, but hopefully he's going to be around come
Mark,
next fall.
Can I ask an outsider's opinion or outsider's question? First of all, obviously Netflix has got their camera in front of everybody over the last year. And we get to see that heartbreak, unfortunately, for Keegan right in front. I mean, how he handled it. I think that in itself should have given rise to consideration for the current captaincy. I love the idea of a captain that's in the game today. Love the Freddies, love the Nicholases, and all their captaincies. But I want somebody that's in the game today. I love that concept this year.
Well, I do too.
I guess my question is when the camera went down and went dark, how devastated was he?
He was. Yeah, that's a really good question, because you know there's probably what he's saying to the press after he was passed by, and what he was saying to me, and I can guarantee you, he was genuinely bummed. He was really, really bummed, and of course, I told him he handled it beautifully, and he did. I think he gained a lot of fans with the way he handled that whole thing, and
100%, absolutely.
You know, but I think too that people are saying, well, the reason he got the captaincy is because he was snubbed, and that's not true. It's not. You know, it's not true. I mean, certainly, I think Seth Waugh went, wait a second here, something's wrong, and he wanted to see a change, and that's what we're seeing right here. And you see the Webb pick for vice captain, and now Sned's. You know, these are guys that Keegan knows are well liked in the locker room and respected. And there's going to be a few more. I was with somebody this past week, so I wasn't able to ask Keegan for a little inside on who the next captain pick is going to be. But I have an idea who it is. I can't tell you. But it's going to be all different. It's going to be it's going to be a big change. And I'll tell you one of the things that was really cool this past week is on Sunday after he won, he got a text from Tiger.
Nice.
And, you know, and he's like a kid when he comes out, and Tiger just said, "I'm proud of you, and way to play, and you played beautifully." You know, all these amazing things. And so that's cool stuff. And so he's talking with Tiger on the phone, and he basically just told Tiger, whatever you want to do, man, just tell him, and it's yours. And Tiger basically said to Keegan, "I'm here to help in any way I can." And so that's, you know, when I fast forward, or you know, when I go back to when Keegan was 12, we were on the 5th hole at the golf course I was at in Vermont, and the superintendent pulls up in the Cushman, and he said, "Tiger won again." And I looked over at my son standing on the side of the green, and his jaw was like, you know, on the floor, on the ground. He was just so blown away. And I remember, you know, saying to him on the next tee and the next hole, you know, you want to play with this guy someday, you got to start thinking about it now. And you can't party. You got to practice like a PGA pro. Practice, get out in front of being a PGA golf professional, and that the way you dress, the way you behave, the way you practice, the way you play, and then fast forward to a couple of days ago, and he gets a text from the big cat, and it still made Keegan feel so good. And here's another thing, and I'll give you guys a little insight as to what I saw. And as a person who's taught the game and taught Keegan for most of his life, it kind of passed me by all the tech stuff that these guys want. Good, do it. I'm a more organic guy, the old it's in the dirt thing. But I will tell you, when his mother and I talked, I think it was Thursday night or Friday night or whatever, she goes, I hope you can keep it going. This kind of stuff, stuff that, wonderful mothers, feel towards their child. And I told her, I said, Kay, I really think that it's the best I've ever seen him swing. He controlled that golf ball under difficult circumstances. High winds, the wind was blowing like crazy, and up and down, and you can't hit it in the rough and everything. And he just pure. It just the flight of the ball and the sound and the way he went about it with the wonderful Scotty Vail, his caddy. I told her, I said, I don't think you need to worry about if he plays well again tomorrow, because, from what I know, boy, he was swinging really well, and it kept going. There was a few moments out there for sure, but it's the best I've ever seen him play. Kind of. I've seen him play well many times, but this was different. So let's see what happens starting tomorrow.
Mark, I had a crazy thought the other day. So kind of bear with how I'm thinking about this.
Yeah.
Keegan has a very special relationship with a certain someone from another sport.
Yep.
And one of the things that we always, when it becomes Ryder Cup time, we always talk about the team aspect versus the individual play that these guys do time and time again. Would there ever be thought of bringing an MJ in or bringing somebody like that in, maybe as a captain? Because they were in the team, that team arena and maybe with his relationship with Michael, maybe that might be something. What do you think about that?
Well, I don't know what he's going to. I know he's going to have Michael in the locker room giving a little speech over here every once in a while, but I don't know if he's actually going to make him official vice captain or not. Just I was going to say off the record, but here we are. I don't think he's going to do that. I don't even think Michael may want that.
Yeah.
But he's definitely going to have Michael right there. And number two, I hope that Jumpman Shoes takes care of the shoe wear.
Yeah.
Because Michael will want it. And we talked about it Sunday night. Michael, he goes crazy when Keegan wins. And one of the first people Keegan called after his victory was MJ. And he said MJ was going nuts. He was so excited and so happy. So I'd like to see some Jumpman Shoes out there on the boys come next year. That'd be fun.
Wear them?
Michael will be involved.
Do you wear the high tops?
Do I?
Yeah.
No, I don't. I do have a pair of Jumpmans. They were Keegan's, and they were brand new. But when I went to visit him for Thanksgiving a while back, he said, "Dad, come here." And we went into the garage, and there were boxes and boxes of custom-made Jumpmans for Keegan, and they fit me, and a little tight, but I stuffed my travel bag full of these things. There will be an MJ presence, no question about it. It'll be a Tiger presence. It'll just be what Keegan said to me. He just said, Tiger, whatever you want, however you want to be involved. Do you want to be a vice captain? Let me know. If you don't, but you want to be. So TW will be out there as well.
Hey, Mark, I'm going to get back to Ryder Cup in a couple of minutes with a couple of questions, but I want to pick up on what you just said about when you were on the course with Keegan at 12 years old, and the superintendent came up and mentioned Tiger won. And when you've joined us before, you have been so insightful on how you help guide and shepherd Keegan, who is a kid that has some obviously talents that could go to the upper echelon of competition. And what can you share with the listeners, viewers that might have, and everybody thinks their son and daughter could be the next whatever, but
Right.
if a parent out there, or maybe even a coach right now, or PGA members listening, all PGA, and from your perspective, how do you nurture the right way and help guide a youth golfer that is showing that kind of ability?
Well, good question. I am blessed with the fact that I don't get upset out there. If he's out there and he's struggling, and he's doing this and doing that for whatever reason, uh, it never dawns on me to get upset with him. Do I get upset with the game of golf? Yep. Then how do you my kids out there suffering, and we've all suffered with this game. It's such a hard game. So I'm lucky with that. I saw my dad do it the other way. He'd get mad and he'd demand, excellence at all times. And some of that was good, but it was a little over the top for me. My sister went on to the World Golf Hall of Fame, but I know that was tough on her too. I mean, she told him, my dad, I don't want to say him, my dad, that you can't come. You can't come to the tournaments because I look over and he's kicking a pine cone or spitting and upset and mad, and she couldn't stand it. And so I just said to myself, I'm going to do it a different way. And I'm going to be a little kinder, a little gentler. I'm going to keep my mouth shut more. I'm not going to sit there and say something for the sake of saying something. I gave him a good grip, Brendan, early. And I knew right away with a strong right hand and, all this other stuff that we had to change that. And he hated it. And then I remember talking to him about interlock. I don't interlock, I overlap. But, these kids now, they all interlock. And I'm figuring Jack does it, Tiger does it, you do it. And so things like that. But we had such a wonderful time. I just tell parents to get them to the golf course, starters.
Yeah.
And drop them off, but tell them to stay out of the pro shop. Don't bug the guys and gals in the shop. And practice and play and get out in front of it, just in all ways. But
we like when they go to the snack bar though, because those boys and girls can eat.
They got the charge account.
Teenagers with,
and I did that when I was a kid.
Man, that's a beautiful thing right there.
Yeah, but so I know all about that. You got to get them there. And I got Keegan to the golf course because I'm working. And I think I told you guys the last time I had a blanket and a pillow in the car, and I put the seat back, put the pillow under his head and cover him up and say, kids need their rest. Let them rest. And then come in the shop, and about 8:00 he'd roll in. But the original question that you asked, Bobby, you were saying, what was that? I'm kind of going off on a tangent here.
Yeah, I think
don't say anything for the sake of saying something. And I'll tell you what. And it buttresses my philosophy back then. I'm sitting there going, I can't possibly see what his face angle is at impact with the naked eye. I can't see a bunch of stuff with the naked eye. And now with all the TrackMan and all the stuff they have, you can. And that's what these guys want, these guys like Keegan. And so I would say, kids too. They might as well start hearing stuff. And this technology is amazing. And again, I'm more of an organic guy. And I used to just tell Keegan all the time, especially with the driver, hit it hard. We'll talk about it later.
Do you see
my dad would say, oh, swing easy, swing easy.
No.
The heck with that. Hit it.
Mark, do you see a blend in him with you being the PGA professional dad? Do you see that kind of influence that you had on him, the way you taught, and combined with the tech and the TrackMan numbers, or is he really into the tech?
Yeah, he's way into the tech.
Yeah.
And he wants it. And I sometimes have said to him, that I thought there was too much tech.
Yeah.
too much of this. And I'm sitting there going, you've heard it's go cliche now. You're playing swing, you're not playing golf.
Right.
You feel that? And so there's some of that, but he has Darren May as his swing coach now, and then Kenyon is his putting coach.
Yeah.
And both of them have been fantastic. And again, here's another place where I back off. I go, you guys take it from here. I did what I could. And because Keegan came to me one time when he was at St. John's, or I forget what stage of his career he was in, but I said something about, this golf professional who said something to him, and he go, no, Dad, no, I don't want to. You're my coach, and I listen to you, and I listen to you only. And I went, what? Hey, don't worry about me. I said, I don't care about anything other than you just getting better. And that, that's the deal. And that's what happened. That's what happened. And but he just, for parents out there, don't say stuff for the sake of saying it. Just get them out there and hit the ball. Take divots. And how about not take divots? Best shots, the best irons I saw Keegan hit at Castle Pines, 6 irons, no divot. And we saw that thing with Scotty and Tiger.
I was just about to say, I'm reminiscing with that thing with Tiger and Scotty.
Right.
Yeah, and so it's the same kind of thing. And Tiger even said, no, when I'm hitting it well, I don't take a divot. And, so we got to be careful with that. But I'll guarantee you, I saw some ball flights that just, tour quality, tour trajectory, no divot. Scuff the grass. But so that's just, I'm going to try to do that. I'm hitting down on it and doing all this. But, it's been, this is his end of his 14th year.
It's incredible.
And he pulled out a Jackson Hole Golf and Tennis Club, 16 years ago or so. And it's $3,000 Ford Focus that had 190,000 miles on it and a few grand in his back pocket. And I'm happy to report when he pulled out of that parking lot, we were both crying our eyes out. And off he went. And gee whiz, aren't we pushing 50 million right now? And more important than that, he's the captain of the United States Ryder Cup team in 2025. And I'll tell you the story because it's kind of fun. He gets back after playing the Travelers. And he had an okay week. He was beat. He was exhausted. I think the PGA Tour needs to look at the schedule a little bit because these poor guys. Keegan played Wyndham and now 3 events in a row, 4 weeks in a row. You imagine guys playing that much golf? But that's what they do. And so after Travelers, I was going to stick around for a few more days to be with the family and be with everybody and the grandkids. And Keegan said to me, he goes, Dad, I have to leave on Monday to go to LA. And he's doing a commercial for, he's going to take over for Tony Finau with the Annika Sorenstam. You don't get the middle clubs.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to take over for that. But he's sitting there with the knowledge in his head that he's just been asked to be the Ryder Cup captain. And so he didn't think he did a good job when he went to LA because his mind was preoccupied with what the heck is going on. So I was staying till Thursday. He got back Wednesday night from the airport and he picked up some pizzas and he brought them back to the house. And I saw he and Jillian shooing the grandkids, 4 of them downstairs, all of you, let's go. Oh. And I didn't think too much of it, and then we're all out there on the deck eating pizza and Keegan comes walking out and he said, I have an announcement to make. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, he's going to go live. You're probably not supposed to say that, but I don't care. I don't care one bit. And it's just like that phone call he got when he's told he's not on the team. I'm his dad, and it was sad, and it was this, and it was whatever it was, but it was good TV because people loved, they were on the inside of something that was. So anyway, he just goes, I'm sitting there looking at him, and he goes, I'm the next captain of the United States Ryder Cup team. And I remember covering my mouth. I had to look away. I was like, what? If he was in shock, I was in total shock. Everybody was. And I just got up and I gave him a hug and said, congratulations. And, you know, whatever I can do or whatever I said, I don't even know. I was just, I'm going to have to do this and plug my phone in. What an amazing moment. And, the word surreal, I think, is overused. I think is too much. But I looked it up. What does surreal mean? You still there, guys?
Yep.
Yeah.
Because what did I just do? There we go. Let me do this. Yeah. So, um, you know, I looked up surreal, and surreal basically is fact mixed with some fantasy. And this was kind of because it was surreal. It really was. And this victory the other day, I guess, surreal. It was incredible, but he also knew that it's a big deal. And he's sitting there. His mindset is, wait a second, I'm a player still, and I want to make that team, and he still does. But he was in shock, and
So
so
Mark,
yeah,
I mean, you're a PGA Life member in PGA of America,
yes,
and still do some teaching at Jackson Hole Golf and Tennis Club out in Wyoming, and still,
right.
you know, as fellow PGA members, and you think of the PGA Championship and the Ryder Cup a certain way, but I mean, to have your son now be the captain, now the Ryder Cup, certainly goes up on that echelon a little more. And I just want to throw this out that in case something happens to Scotty, I have a Ryder Cup.
Hey, look at that! Wow, that is fantastic. How'd you get that? You
So
have your ways.
I'll be as tactful as possible, but I didn't want to move out to Frisco with the PGA headquarters, and I was doing my own thing, but stay in touch with friends at PGA headquarters, and they were leaving a lot of things in Florida when they were moving, and frankly, they were going to throw a lot of stuff away. And I went down there and grabbed a bunch of things, and I saw more than a few. I got a Bubba Watson. I got a few of these Ryder Cup bibs, and so when I saw this one, I thought, oh, next week I'd give you a call, or it'd be cool for Keegan to sign it. And now it's like 3 years later or something. I still have this thing.
How about
And
that?
so in case I'm needed, I could be a filling caddy.
How about that? Well, here's a fun story, and I might have touched on it when we talked before, but I don't think I told you everything. We're at the Ryder Cup at Brookline in 1999. He's like 12.
Right.
And we're standing, it's near the end. It's Sunday. And Justin Leonard had just made that bomb, the putt that, with the turnaround. And Keegan was on my shoulders. And we're leaning up against a big elm tree just beyond the 18th green. And up on the 18th green is Colin Montgomery and Payne Stewart. And that's when Payne very graciously gave Colin the putt to have match and everything. So Keegan taps me on the shoulder and he goes, Dad, can I go out on the green? And it's wall-to-wall people. And parents would not do that to this day because, you let your 12-year-old go running off into this mass of humans. And I told him, I let him down. I said, you can do it. I said, but meet me back at the crooked tree. The tree was a little crooked, this big, huge thing. And I stood there and he got out on the green and he's standing next to Colin Montgomery and Payne Stewart after the concession. And he's just looking around like, oh my gosh, this is the most amazing thing that it could be. And then he comes back to me and he told me all about it. He's very excited, 1999. And then we all just turn around and there's the United States team. We were getting hit by the champagne spray after the victory. So we were right there. And I didn't want to go back on Sunday because, well, I probably shouldn't say this either, but spectating at the Ryder Cup is tough.
Yes.
And there's only 4 matches going on. So you got 50, 60,000 people on 4 holes. And anyway, I took him on Friday and he just said, Dad, I want to go back. I want to go back. And I did take him back. And I'm so glad I did because that was definitely, a determiner or a factor in him wanting to be a big time tournament player. That is watching his Aunt Pat, on the LPGA. But it was fun to go back to the U.S. Open at Brookline a few years ago when he's coming down the fairway, and he came in seventh, and just the people screaming his name and everything. But I went over and I touched that crooked tree, and it brought back, really, really great memories. And then, of course, then he goes on to play on two Ryder Cup teams. And when he was 7 years old, you guys, and I don't think I told you this story, it's out now, and a lot of people know it. And maybe I have. I don't know where I've told or where I haven't, but I think it's pretty proud of this. It was kind of a clever thing to do as not only his teacher, but his old man. We'd go out and play 9 holes of golf after I got off work, whenever that was. Just know I'm off at 5. Well, maybe. But I'd go out and we'd play 9 holes. And I got the cart. And we're going down, it's the second hole at Haystack Golf Club in Wilmington, Vermont. And he hits a shot that was a little thin. I said, okay, we're going to play a game here. And it's called Ryder Cup, Walker Cup. And if you hit a good shot, I slap the seat and I go, you're riding, get in. And I said, but if you don't, you're walking, man. And so he hits this shot, and it was a little thin. It was like 7th. It was a little thin, but he looks at me and he goes, I'm trying to decide. And he goes, Dad, that was so a Ryder Cup. And I went, nope. And I took off. And I remember it like it's yesterday. I turn around and look at him, and he's got that little cut down forward, and he's raising it in his hand, and he's going, Dad, that was so a Ryder Cup and everything. And so we play that game. He hit a good shot. Get in, man. Let's go. Walker Cup, Ryder Cup. And then here we are, flash forward to, a few years, 1999, and we're at the Ryder Cup. And then fast forward again, and he's on the Ryder Cup. And now fast forward to now, he's the captain. There's only been, I think, 5 captains since he was on my shoulders on that crooked tree. Only 5, maybe 6, but not many.
Mark, I gotta ask a question.
Yeah.
So something we've chatted about on our panel in the past is he ready for Bethpage? I think Bethpage is going to be I think it's going to be out of control. And as a golfer, we're all golfers.
Yeah.
I think in some ways the fans, I think Waste Management, for example, has gone too far.
I do too.
I'm afraid that
I've never been to Waste Management because I think it's gone too far.
That Bethpage is going to be chaotic, and that's being polite.
Well, that's a really good question because he knows that. And he told me, he said, I got to be careful how I get the crowd fired up. He feels that way. And he also said that the New York fans are fantastic and they're wonderful and they're great. And he's got some New York in him now, 4 years, at St. John's University, Queens, New York. And he loves New York, truly does. He loves it. Matter of fact, he said when he retires, he'd like to spend, some time in the city. But he also knows that he has to be careful. You can get him. Oh, yeah. These people, and he said also, he goes, Dad, he said, you just got to be cool because, you're going to hear some stuff out there. And if things are going bad, it could be, they're not going to put up with it for very long. So he's aware of it.
No, that's us Philly fans. That's what.
Yeah. So, I just think that, he's, I think I can say this without letting any secrets out of the bag. He's going to play that golf course long. I got to have dinner spend time with Kerry Haig. Kerry?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And he's a really cool dude. He was a great guy. And Julius, he's fantastic. And Mallory and all these other people. We went to a Keen's Chop House in New York City after the announcement of him being, and I had a fabulous conversation with Kerry, and Keegan, he's going to set that course up with Keegan's got, he's going to tell him where to put the build outs, and he's got some interesting thoughts on a couple of those build outs. Those things are going to be hanging out over the green, hanging out there, just right on top of the players. And
Be like the
but
old
he's going to
Boston
play it
Garden.
long. What's that?
Be like the old Boston Garden.
Yeah. Oh no, there's some thought right there, buddy. But he's going to play it long. The rough's not going to be stupid. It's just going to be, rough, but not crazy. Hit it into your chip out, and the greens are going to be super fast. He's going to rely on some analytics, and all of the analytics point toward that's the way he needs to set that course up. And then, of course, it'll be, more detailed than that. But right now, you're going to see a long golf course. You're going to see fast greens, and the rough's not going to be that bad. Now, first of all, here's another really great insight in this whole deal. Keegan and Luke Donald are friends.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Proper friends, as Luke would say. They're buds. And I remember walking inside the ropes at St. Andrews when they played a practice round together, and Keegan kidding Luke, and Luke just, he's just enjoying it, laughing and going. So they're friends. And because Luke's wife and MJ's wife are best friends. So there's a whole nother, they all get together. And Keegan's best friend on tour before he went to live was Brendan Steele. Well, Luke's brother caddies for Brendan. And so there's really a tight connection going on there. But for instance, and I can tell this because, it's already happened, but, analytics say that we're better wedge players than the Europeans, whatever that is. But did you notice that there were 3 drivable par 4s in Rome?
Yes.
And that's Luke going, you know what? I'm going to set this course up that helps our guys. And it did. They killed us. But so there's things like that I didn't think about that. There's 3 drivables, and he's not going to have one. He's not going to have a drivable par 4. So he's going to set the course up to help his guys. And I just think if things are going well, the kid that wears the Boston Red Sox hat all the time they're going to fall in love with him. They loved him out there in Denver. I'll tell you. I walked up to some guys. There was a bunch, 7 guys, big guys, and Keegan's walking up on the 10th green at Castle Pines on Thursday, and they start yelling USA in unison, and it's just loud, and it was great. And Keegan's giving them the fist pump, and so Keegan birdies the hole. They go nuts. USA, USA, and Keegan walks off to the 11th tee. Now I got to walk around over here. So I walk up to these group of guys, and I look at them, and I said, I got one thing to say to you guys. And I go, USA. And then I go, I'm Keegan's dad. And they start pounding on me. They're beating me. They're screaming, yelling, oh, my God, let's get a selfie over here. And, and I'm pounding on them. And, it was a Boston thing, Bobby. We pound on them. We do. And it was really a special moment. And then there was a lot of that. And Keegan even told me he's not comfortable yet with everybody yelling out, Captain, Captain. I said, Keegan, embrace it, man. And he did there. And when he was doing the awards presentation, when they gave him the trophy, he just thanked the Denver crowd. And he said, you guys were loud out there. And he said, hey, come next September. I want you all to come to Bethpage and get loud. And, so we'll see what happens. If he wins, it's a book.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great story. I mean, his kid comes from nothing.
And he can. I mean, the numbers are there. He can certainly get it done this week in Atlanta.
And I think he's really, I know his swing. And it was so controlled. His flight was, he hit a lot of fairways with good distance. And his irons, man, they're a beautiful thing to watch. And again, he didn't putt great, but he putted well enough, and nor did Adam. I mean, let's face it, Adam really struggled with that 5-6 foot putt. And, I hate to say it, but every miss helps Keegan. Whether he's playing, whether the guy's 7-shot, it doesn't matter. And it's sort of a weird thing to be the father of a player like that, because I don't wish it on anybody, but when they miss, I know it helps my kid, so that's okay by me. But you know, and Adam Scott is such a class act. And I said to Keegan, "How was it playing with Adam?" He goes, "Dad, the guy is he's the best. He's awesome, and he's a gentleman." And because you know, Keegan has told me many times, he goes, "I don't mind if guys get mad when they're out playing," because he goes, "I get mad, but he can't stand it if they start crying and whining. Can't stand it." And you know, some of these guys that are, you know, and people who quit. Keegan said, if I'm gonna shoot 81, I'm gonna try to shoot 80." And he knows that it comes down to a shot sometimes, and it did for him a couple of times. You know, he gets that. You know, I wish he got that from me. He gets that from his Aunt Pat. You know, she never quit, and no matter how bad it gets, and Keegan's the same way, no quit, and it's paid off. You know, and you know this kid Scotty Vale, his caddy, ooh, he's strong, and they genuinely like each other. They go to dinner together, and the way they work out on that golf course is something. It's something to behold. It's really great, and I know Keegan feels that Scotty had a big part to do with the victory the other day.
That's good stuff. B, we got to move across the pond real fast.
Yep.
Okay.
We're on the 18th tee, but I got to work this in. I happen to have on my Lake Nona shirt.
Nice.
Because the pure happenstance, by the way. Girl down your way.
Yeah.
Got it done. We're obviously talking about Lydia Ko. And I'm telling you right now, the Women's Open Championship this year was great theater.
Awesome. Yeah.
I found myself walking through the golf shop, stopping, watching, I mean, not just one hole. I'd watch like 2 or 3 holes and then go off and do something. I'd come back and watch 2 or 3 more holes. And I was shocked. I actually am sad to say I didn't see the conclusion. But she just hung around and hung around and hung around. Yeah. Lydia was, or not Lydia, Gorda was there, and then somebody else was there, and then there was a 3-way tie at 7, and suddenly Lydia Ko's lifting hardware again.
We've been talking.
Won the gold too.
Yeah. We've been talking about Keegan's phenomenal storybook year. How about Lydia, man? With the gold and winning this, it's amazing. Been summer of Lydia.
Hall of Fame.
Now she's yeah.
She's in. And that reminds me, I'll tell you something right now. You're going to see Keegan's Aunt Pat probably in that locker room saying, "Hey boys, let's go," because he'll tap into that resource, and that's an unbelievably strong resource. And so she's excited about that, and I'm excited for her because you know, I have a picture, and I'm going to send it to this John Wood. Sure. John Wood, the caddy that's now they created a new position in the Ryder Cup manager. So he's going to be helping Keegan a lot. He wants some photos that I have and Keegan's mom has and everything. And I don't know why I brought that up, but I think that you're going to see my sister Pat, you know, certainly involved in some way because you know, maybe I had some part of the inspiration of the whole thing. Mine was more, come on, let's go. We're going to, and I tried to tell him, Keegan, why don't you take today off? You know, it's 5:30 in the morning. He's up and he can't even keep his eyes open. And in the car, we go to drive the 25 miles. And I would say, Keegan, why don't you take a day off and, you know, go swimming with the boys, your friends. And he told me with no uncertain terms, he said, "No, Dad, I wish you'd stop asking me that because that's not what I want to do. I want to get up and go with you." And so I said, "Okay, get in the car." And I said, "I'm not fighting with you every morning to have you get up, get up, get up. We got to." And boy, I'd say, "I'm leaving." I'd hear his feet hit the floor. And out he comes. And, you know, we just did that every single day. And, you know, that's why I say to all the parents out there, if you have an opportunity, drop your kids off and just tell them to Don't bug the pro shop staff, and practice and play. And if they show, and a love of the sport, and for me, to get a kid to love the sport, there's a number of different ways, and Brendan knows all of them for juniors. But mine was get them out there.
Yeah.
Let's play a scramble. Let's go put the ball in the hole, and talk about shots as we go along. And it was a really successful junior program I had out here. And another thing that just happened here in Jackson Hole, which is amazing, is a good friend of mine and a friend of Keegan's. When Keegan was here with me, a guy named Steve White qualified for the U.S. Senior Open at Newport Country Club. He went. He's a Jackson Hole guy, and he made it to the U.S. Senior Open. And then Ben Polland, who's the club professional at Shooting Star over by the ski area, he wins the Club Pro Championships. He almost qualified for the PGA too. That was kind of unfortunate. And Keegan played a practice round with him, whatever. And then now here's Keegan gets named as the Ryder Cup captain, and indirectly through me and the 3 years he spent here, Jackson Hole is known for its skiing and its climbing and fishing, but it's got some golf going on now too.
So Jackson Hole joins Lydia and Keegan. Have a good year.
Yeah. So that was I'll see what happens when the press gets a hold of me and wants to talk a little bit more about what's going on. But I like bringing that up because it's good stuff. And Keegan loves Jackson Hole. I wish he'd bought a place out here back when real estate was reasonable. But right now, a single family home's $3 to $5 million.
Wow.
For a T111 siding ranch, nothing. It's that everybody wants to be here. Everybody wants to live here. And I can see why. And anytime I'm out traveling around and going to the golf tournaments in this past week and stuff, people, when they find out, I live in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, they love it. They think it's pretty cool. And it is. It's internationally famous. And I'm not going anywhere. I hitchhiked into this town 51 years ago.
Wow.
And hitchhiked into this valley because I had skied here in 1970. Went to Lawrence Academy, Bobby, in Groton, and I got a chance to go out of here and go skiing. And my folks, they owned a ski shop. They didn't. My friend who asked me to go, I said, "There's no way. My parents can't afford something like that back in 1970." But my mother said go. And before she passed away a couple of years ago, and I spent a lot of time with her, I got to thank her for letting me go. But they knew that when I left, I'm taking a year off, Mom. And she tells me about talking with my sister Pat, and my sister going, he's never coming back. And I did, but I didn't. Because even after 10 years in Jackson Hole, I came back to Vermont for 23 years. And then but when I left, my mother wouldn't let me take the car because it was her car. She bought it for me. So I stuck my thumb out and I got here. And to go from my first job as night waterman at the Jackson Hole Golf and Tennis Club to, the head professional, and now just honorary member. And I had a lesson today. And so I still keep my hand in it, and they treat me so well. And before I left, I said to the general manager and the head pro, I said, you know what? Give me a couple of hats and I'll wear those, because I don't know if I was going to get interviewed or not. He is the captain of the Ryder Cup team, so you never know. But I wanted to promote Jackson Hole Golf and Tennis Club. And I went in to see the general manager today, and he was pumped because I had that visor on, and he saw it. And so he said, can we get you, suited up for the Ryder Cup? I said, absolutely. They treat me so great there. And it gives me a place to play. And so I have that. And I have the ski area that's, let me just do this. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah.
That's my view.
Beautiful.
So this is
That's
my
only
view right
slightly
here.
further than Bobby's horses out his back window, but
Oh yeah, Bobby, you're a horseman? Are you? Oh, cool.
Yeah,
See, there's
40 feet away.
there's the ski area in town,
Yeah.
and I look right at it, and I ski there. Oh my gosh, 60 days a year. I had open heart surgery in December. Do you know that, Bobby?
Oh yeah. Yep.
I had open heart surgery on
Yeah.
December 14th, and it was kind of scary. But they went in and they saw good stuff, and they fixed it up better than it ever was. And March 3rd, I'm skiing on those slopes you just saw right there.
Love
I
it.
finished out the season, a few months after this. But I had a goal to ski again that spring and to live. And, I got to see a couple of amazing things within a few months of when I had this open heart surgery. And I've never felt better. I felt great. And, I would have missed all this,
Right.
but I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't miss it. I got to see it and spend time with Keegan and have dinner with him and hear him talk about the inside stuff. And, I just, it's golf's been good to the Bradley family. Because, you have a Class A member of the PGA, you have an LPGA card carrying member, and you have now a PGA Tour. That's kind of unusual.
Yeah.
In one family, and then you've got in the same
Right.
family a Ryder Cup captain and Solheim Cup captain.
Pretty
Right.
good run. It's a pretty good run.
It is.
Yep.
No, Mark, I would call it a wicked talented family.
Yeah, man. Well, I'm probably a skier first, but I used to be able to play pretty good golf, and I went out the other day and played really well. I was psyched and everything. 2 days later, I stunk. It was terrible. And it just completely flummoxes me. But, again, I have a nice home to play at, and I've got the skiing right across the street, and I'd rather fish than do anything.
Keegan
Big
should
fly
get you to
fisherman.
play down. Keegan should get you to play down here in Orlando for the the father son.
Well, I think we've talked about it for many years. And one time he goes, "Dad, you want to play in that?" And I'm like, "Are you nuts? Of course I do." And then, quite frankly, I think what happened is Tiger started playing with Charlie,
Yeah.
and then everybody wanted to play. And it's tougher to get in now, but maybe as the Ryder Cup captain, they'll make a little.
yeah.
There you
Because
go.
I'd like to
Good
go,
luck.
and I'd like to have something to practice for, and really,
Yeah.
because I still have good distance. And I told him, I go, Keegan, I'm 71. They're going to put me way up. I'll rip some tee balls right up there by the green, and I think we could be competitive even at
Oh,
my
yeah.
advanced age. So we'll see what he does. But I also, when he told me his schedule for the next couple of months, it's brutal. I can't. And he's a homebody. He loves being with his family and his kids, and but no, it's all changed for the next year plus.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
but that's why when it comes to that time of year, he needs his rest. He needs to
Recharge the battery.
not jump in a jet and go fly off here. And so we'll see. I hope he asks still, but if he doesn't, I'm okay with that. And I just want to go down to Grove 23 and tee it up with him.
Nice.
Yeah. I did get to do that. And that was, Michael wasn't there, but that's all right. Gretzky was there. And a few other people that we all know, but he loves it there. And the reason he's got this practice facility is it's crazy. I mean, it's like a video game, and he goes there and he can be left alone and he can work on his game because he still loves that aspect of it. He loves practice, and he thinks he has to practice more than he goes more talented players to keep up with them. And whether that's true or not, because I told him, Keegan, you don't think you're talented? Come on, man. You are, but he feels that he needs to work harder than other guys to keep up with them. And if that's what he feels, that's the way it is. And let's not change a thing right now.
Right.
They're rolling. Yeah.
Because he doesn't think, he said the other day when he was interviewed that he feels like he's still got a lot of game left. And
Oh, yeah.
he feels like he wants to be around for a few more years. And, and he wants to go ahead and see if he can make this team on merit.
Mhm.
And then let's see what happens at this President's Cup coming up. I think that announcement is the Tuesday after the Tour Championship. So I'll be interested to see what they have to say there. And as my mother would say, onward and upward.
And we will certainly be rooting him on.
Thanks, man.
But Bobby, maybe you could get him to allow you to throw on the bib.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
ready
yeah.
to go.
You could be our man inside the ropes.
There it is. Look at that thing there. That is.
All
I gotta
right.
get that from. I'll get that signed, Bobby.
That'd be
Somehow,
awesome.
I'll get it signed up.
Brendan, 18th green. Gotta wrap up the round. Got the flag stick in hand.
My 18th green. First of all, thank you, Mark, for coming on. It's
You bet.
always great to hear the stories. And for me, and I said this last time you're on, you and your son have helped tremendously for my little organization down here in Florida. And for that, I'm appreciative. But thinking back, I was in Atlanta when he won his PGA. I was at the Ryder Cup at Medina, so I saw the up and the down.
Yeah, yeah.
Definitely with my daughter being a New Yorker now, going to school up in New York City, I will be making the trip up to Bethpage to check that out. So seeing Keegan as a PGA champion and now as a Ryder Cup captain, and seeing him play in a Ryder Cup before, just it's a cool thing. So thank you for coming on, sharing the stories. We appreciate it.
You bet it, Brendan. And this kid from Vermont, Alan, and
Oh,
yeah,
you can't confuse my game and his game.
but
The
he comes from a town of, I think Woodstock's maybe 3,000 people.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of colleges and different tournaments, he didn't get the invites, he didn't get this and that because, how can a kid from Vermont ever compete? And so he's got a little chip on his shoulder that still exists, and he continues to use it to motivate himself.
Love
it. And it's paid off. And then he just hits it good, boys. He hits it flush. He hits it on the button, and that's another thing that Scotty Vale, his caddy, said. And everybody's praising them on their yardages and the calculations they made to get the ball in the wind and the 6,300 and everything, and hit the shot, get it on the green in regulation. And Scotty said, you can have all the numbers and all the yardages and all the factors and all of that in there, but he said if you hit a little thin, it doesn't mean a damn thing. And he said, and Keegan hits it on the button. He hits it flush. And I remember saying at dinner that night, I said, that must be really fun to watch that all day. And he goes, it is. He hits it flush. And that's how you play win, right, boys?
Yep.
You hit it flush.
Bobby, 18th green for you.
Yeah, I'll keep it short. It's been an amazing show as always with you, Mark.
Maki.
Maki, we got to have you back more often because the stories are. Man. I think they just help the listeners about the game of golf and what the game of golf means to all of us and the families. And my dad was a PGA pro, and it's all intertwined. It's just a small world thing. And I've got a lot of other subjects we can bring up in the coming weeks, but this has been really, really special. It always is with you.
Well, thank you, Bobby, and your dad was a PGA pro, and the highlight of my week. I'm standing out there with Paige, the Golf Channel gal, and after the awards presentation and our embrace and all that, and so she's asking Keegan and I questions. She probably saw it, and she said, you're here with your father. It's the first time he's seen you win live. And what does it mean to have your father here? And he just looks at her and he goes, he taught me how to play the game.
Right.
That was the highlight of my week, to have him say that. And he just said, he taught me how to play the game. And he's a club professional. And I just went to work with him every day. And that was a highlight. And you guys that are in the program, that that was really, that was special. And and then I get all these, the social networks, people going crazy, and all the people I know, and everybody saying how, they teared up
Oh, yeah.
They got emotional, and I'm even getting a little emotional thinking of that
Yeah.
because of the great game of golf, boys.
Yep.
Absolutely. I'm gonna actually wrap up. It's another holiday weekend. My 18th green, boys, is this. It's also a don't be that guy in honor of Andy, who couldn't be here tonight. 18th green, don't be that guy. You consider the guys behind you. You
Yeah.
got a group of 12. You don't stand there and wait till all 12 of them hit up and then clap and then go on to the next hole.
Right.
And then have, I don't know, a 5-hour round. Hypothetically may have happened. I may have seen it. Don't be that guy.
We've all seen one of those.
Excuse my cough here. I got a little. But anyway, yeah, I agree with you, and I'm kind of bummed out because the perception is that Keegan's slow, and he drives people crazy. He does that double knee dip, and he's flipping the clubs around, and he's doing all that other stuff. But I go to enough events. He's a half a hole behind the group in front, and they're all slow, including Keegan.
Yeah.
They really. I said to my students today, the kids that they were there for 3 days. My students went down with their parents to watch, and so they were there. And I asked one kid, "What today?" I said, "What did you get out of watching the best players in the world?" And he's 14, 15 years old, and he said the way they really think out every shot, and they take in all of the variables and all of the stuff, and he goes, "I need to do that more. I basically just step up and hit it." And then I tell him, "Well, okay, be careful over here." Then he starts doing aim point.
Oh,
He's
boy.
doing aim point today. And I'm going, "Okay, have you read up on aim point? Do you know what it all does?" And my fear is that, but that gets people the perception that it's slow. And I will say, I hear them, the people go, geez, this 5-foot putt. And then bring in Scotty, and Adam Scott does it. And so does Victor.
Yep.
Bunch of guys doing it, and it
Yeah.
really has helped Keegan. But I had to tell this junior, I said, "Okay, just sometime today, hit this thing and let's move on." So we'll see where that goes. But it was great to have them out there today, and they were very excited about what they saw. And my good playing buddy, he just said, because he said Netflix should be following me around. Because we went up on the way back, and a young man who was my first card attendant when I was at Haystack Golf Club, he just got voted Colorado Professional of the Year. And we visited him on the way home at his club, Eagle Springs, Colorado. And then on the way up from there, we stopped in to the Windwalker Ranch. And that's the ranch that is owned by a bunch of members at Augusta. And my friend runs the place. And so we got to see that. And, it opens up all kinds of doors. And it's golf. And it's wonderful. And it's been very good to me and my family and my son and to you guys.
Oh,
But
yeah.
anyway, I'm
Yep.
rambling on here.
Yep. All right, Bobby. Mark, thank you again as always. BE.
Thank you.
Until next week.
Yeah, man. Call me anytime. Okay.